Sound check? Sounds pretty good. Okay, guys, I'm going to amp it up because we are in the expo hall, and this little session has some inherent challenges. Well, first of all, I should say that as the co-founder of Orbit, we've been planning and building websites for the last 18 years. I've done about 18 years of search optimization and analytics work, going back to the days when analytics was spelled with a small a. Prior to the Google product, I used the Google precursor product. They acquired a tool called Urchin. So I'm kind of an old school analytics guy. It's an honor to be back and to teach. I love this topic. It's fun. It's tricky, though, because there will be people in here who know tons of this stuff already, and people in here who are kind of new, like, what's this data stuff? And so it's hard to kind of gauge. So knowing that, I have tried to do you guys all a favor in advance by recording this entire presentation. And I'm giving it to you now. We've never gated anything. That web address has a video of what we're about to do. So you can relax and just kind of internalize. Let the tactics just wash over you, knowing that they're there for you. At every title slide, there's going to be a time code where it's like, yeah, he did that at minute 11. Just write down 11, and then go back and watch it later. Or forward it to a friend who can maybe do that stuff for you. Okay, so I've tried to make this easy for you. It's really hard to teach analytics. It's a very tactical thing. And I've got like 100+ screenshots on these little screens. Okay, this is like a challenging session. I'm glad you're here. I'm very excited by it. Let's jump right in. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to start each, there's like 10 of them. I'm going to start each one with a question. This one is, which blog posts are getting seen the most? So you're going to see a question. And then below that, I've got a couple of emojis. You're probably one of these two emojis. Either this is going to be super useful to you. You can go do it right away. We publish articles, and they're all in a directory. Or it's going to be more like interesting for you. Now you know that's possible, and it's got the thinking emoji. You've been introduced to the concept. No, we're not really doing content. And then the next slides will be the step-by-step process for answering that question in analytics, with the report marked out on the left, right? That's the all pages report. You're going to filter it for blog, switch to the comparison view, boom. Which of your blog posts are getting seen the most? At the end of that, I've got another slide that shows you some tips for how to take action, because it's my strong belief, it's my pet peeve, my personal project, my passion, to use analytics for decision making and not just for reporting. I've said this before, reports do not affect your marketing. Reports don't affect marketing. They're just reports. Actions affect marketing. Insights affect actions. So I want to use analytics to answer questions and then so you can take an action. So that's what this last slide is going to be about. And then down there at the bottom, you're going to see exactly the moment, this was at second, number 30, exactly the moment in which the video has that step-by-step, play-by-play process. So go back, watch it in slow motion, play it, pause it, watch it over and over if it sounded complicated, because this is a whole bunch of stuff in a very short time. We've got 42 minutes left. Let's do it. First, why do I love analytics? Why do I care about it? Why do we pay attention to this? Some people say, oh, I'd like to check the results of things, but I'm really kind of busy. I don't really have time. To me, that sounds weird, because that's the main reason to use it. The reason to use analytics is to stop wasting time and to abandon those tactics and processes that don't make a difference. I use analytics because I'm busy. This is why I use Google Analytics. I've got a 1-year-old, and I don't have time to publish a whole bunch of medium quality stuff that doesn't really get results. I don't have time to keep putting out things that aren't performing. I have a lot to do. I've got popsicles to make. I blend mangoes and yogurt together, and she mushes them all over her face. I've got a 3-year-old boy to take care of. They're getting along great. So this is the main use for analytics, is to be more effective and efficient with your time, right? To know what to do, right? You can't drive a car without a dashboard. You can't do marketing without analytics. So let's jump in. We're going to start with this one. Very valuable, very useful. What phrases does this page rank for? Analytics will show you this in minutes. Here's how. If you've got Google Search Console connected to analytics, this will be really practical. You can go do this today. If you don't have Search Console connected, or you're not getting any search traffic, this might be just interesting. So if you go to the Acquisition Search Console Landing Pages report, it's got a list of every page that's ever gotten any results from search. It's right there. When you click on one of these URLs, you drill down to that URL, and it shows you a list of every phrase that page is getting performance from in search. Blah, 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 profile picture. And on the right, it's got average position. That's the ranking for that phrase over that, averaged out over that duration of time. As soon as you know what these pages are performing for, you know the smallest action that will give you the biggest outcome. Because Google just told you all of your striking distance phrases for that page. This is a list of all the phrases that that page could rank higher for if I made the topic more focused on that page, if I built the content up to answer more of those questions. So tips for that, of course, reconsider. Maybe that page is ranking for a phrase you weren't even aware of. Super common. We can get more traffic for almost any website in minutes by just finding the phrases that the pages were ranking for accidentally and go sharpening the focus on that. Or realign it with that topic. Make sure it incorporates all those phrases. Add detail, add length, add statistics, add video, add examples, add contributor quotes. Make it a better page. This is showing you exactly the pages that will get the greatest improvement in visibility through small improvements, through small changes. It's literally like black and white on the page. By the way, quick plug, MarketMuse will tell you, this software, these guys here, Jeff's company, that tool will tell you all the semantically related phrases. Incorporating those into the page will give you better results very quickly. That is at time code 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I keep putting that blog post, that link down there. Okay, if that didn't work for you, if when you went to Google Search Console and it showed this, you just haven't connected them yet. I'm not going to show, it's pretty boring to show screenshots for how to connect Search Console to analytics. Just search for how to set up Google Analytics. We made a video for it. It's on the Orbit Media site. Scroll down and you can find that video. It's how to search for how to set up Google Analytics. It's in there. Next, what are people searching for on our website? If you've got a little search box on your website, people are using that to find stuff fast. You put it there as a convenience for your visitor. But as a marketer, you use it as a listening tool to figure out what people are trying to get from your site. There's very few places in the world where your audience is literally typing what they want. This is one of them. It's like you can analyze chat logs. You can look at your keyword performance. You can look at your site search report. Literally, your audience is telling you what they want from you. It's amazing. Data-driven empathy. What do they need? You know, that's the job of the content marketer. Solve for X. Meet people's information needs. That's what this report's going to do. So if you've got a site search tool, this will be really useful, very practical. You can do it right away. It's that box up there at the top. That box, you need to set it up by going to View Settings. It's within the views. Maybe you're familiar. Account, Property, View. That's grandpa, that's the parents, that's the children. You know how this works, right? Inside the View Settings, there's a little toggle to turn on Site Search. Turn on Site Search, and then you need to add the query parameter. Sounds complicated. What's the query parameter? I didn't know either. If you go search for anything on your website, this site I just searched for Hawaii. You see how Hawaii just got pushed into the address bar? Right before the word Hawaii, there's a query parameter. On this site, it's search_term. All I need to do is take that little query parameter. I'm going to use it. By the way, here's some internet trivia. Google's query parameter is Q. This is how the internet works. Search terms get pushed to the address bars. That means it can be sucked out of there by Google Analytics. So put the query parameter into that little box and click Save. Now when you go to the search terms report, Google is going to show you a list of everything that people are searching for on your website. Wow, quite useful. You could tell what people want from you. The search term report shows you all these phrases in one long list. I'm going to do something a little bit fancier by adding another column to this report. That first column is always the dimension. Everything on the right are the metrics. There's only two things in analytics: dimensions, which is the thing, and the metrics, which is how much of the thing. Dimensions are basically the reports. So this is the primary dimension, the first dimension. If you add a secondary dimension from that little drop-down, there's a cool combination that will get you interesting insights fast. Add the exit page. The exit page dimension on the search terms report will show you people who searched for what left from where. What's about to happen? People that searched for Guatemala left from the Guatemala page. Cool, makes sense, not weird. People that searched for Peru left from the Peru page. That makes sense, I get it. People that searched for the packing list left from the search results page. That's not right. Why would they leave from the search results page? It's because they didn't see what they were looking for. In seconds, right? In how many clicks? 5 clicks? I'm seeing a list. This is the report of broken dreams. It's showing you all the ways in which your website is unsatisfying in one view, right? So obviously, that page needs to have a better, so, you know, I need a page of content on that topic. There's another combination of dimensions, primary and secondary dimensions, that can give you insights here, which was the page that they searched from. If I had a secondary dimension for the start page, I can see people, where is the information need unmet? On this website, everyone's trying to get the opt-out information. Okay, this client is not that worried about that audience. They're trying to get away from them. But still, it's interesting to see from which pages, start, I type in start, I'm going to see the secondary dimension for start pages. From which pages were people trying to find the opt-out information? There you go. This basically shows you exactly which pages are not answering which questions. Data-driven empathy, measuring content performance. The performance of that content on that page is lacking, or else why would they go up to the search box? They didn't want to have to search. Visitors don't want to have to search for things. There's a long way between the mouse and the keyboard, and they don't want to go all that way, like hundreds of miles. It's like this far, but it pisses them off. We don't want to have to use the keyboard. We want to tap and click. Quick question. Exit rate would be more similar to the previous page. The search terms exit rate number should show, presumably, what percentage of people left without clicking on a search result. Yeah, the start page report would be from where they wanted that information. They might not have exited. They might have kept digging. In this example, the visitor kept digging, you can see. Exit rate's also useful. This also actually shows you the performance of your labels for things. I'm hiding the names to protect the innocent, but if you've got a site like this that talks, this is a real client, but I changed it, excavators and earth moving, what do? We have content about excavators and earth moving. Do you really? Is that what it's called? Everybody's looking for bulldozers. Maybe it's not called earth moving. Maybe the performance of that label is missed. Maybe there's a gap there. Call it what people call it. This is like the self-centered marketer, right? Call it what you want to call it, or call it what they call it. I'm going to recommend the more empathetic approach. So first rule, go search for everything that people are searching for. See what they see. Why would they be searching for that? Do you have a page that isn't ranking for that? Right? Do you have a packing list? In that case, the client had a packing list, but they called it what to bring. It wasn't ranking in their own search tool. You could hate SEO, but you can't really argue against optimizing your own content to rank in your own search tool on your own website. That's a type of SEO, right? Site search SEO. Maybe you didn't have a packing list. Go make the packing list, right? And then maybe you shouldn't even have to use this search tool. Why are they going to that, right? You could just adjust your navigation to help people find what they want by tapping or clicking instead of having to type it in. I kind of love that one. Is the site working well in every browser? This is so effective and efficient that probably everyone should do this right away. If you got fancy programming especially, you might find that there's a browser compatibility issue, which will jump out at you in black and white. This is under the audience reports. I don't use these as much. Audience reports are also useful. Audience report, technology, browser OS, is going to show you a list of every browser that people use to get to use your website. The bounce rate for each browser is going to show you what percentage of these people left without seeing even a second page. And if I switch to the comparison view, it's going to show me at a glance if certain browsers seem to be having a problem. Wow. Right away, I get a sense, right? Browser compatibility testing is a huge job. But you can use the analytics to help you find a giant shortcut. It's really fast. There's also, this was something I saw just a few weeks ago, and they're letting me share the slides. Anyone here have e-commerce or okay? This one surprised me. There is a client, this is literally tens of millions of dollars flowing through this website. This is over a couple of months, so over a span of a year, it'll be like a $50, $100 million website. Even though, 60% of visitors are on Chrome, only 44% of sales are on Chrome. What's wrong? If I switch to the comparison view for the conversion rate, the e-commerce conversion rate, Chrome is an underperforming browser. When I drilled down from Chrome, you could see there was a version of Chrome from which nobody could buy. There was like an autofill box that was blocking the conversion. The person couldn't actually buy. We think that solving that problem will be worth, yeah, there it is. 0.23% of visitors could buy. I guess those were the Chrome users who just installed the browser, who had never used autofill before. There was a big problem. I think that one's worth, for sure, tens of millions of dollars. I'm not exaggerating. We just talked about this. I think it's probably like a $10 million lift from fixing that one thing. Like the smallest action with the biggest outcome that I've ever seen in digital, visible right there in that report. Literally showing you. Like, why would the conversion rate be 96% lower for that audience? That's crazy. So these things are big issues that sometimes analytics will show you high impact actions. So do some browsers have higher conversion rates, higher bounce rates than others? Take a look. It's 4 clicks. It's easy to find. And do some browsers have conversion rates, or versions of browsers have conversion rates that are lower than others? Could be something seriously wrong, especially for sites with fancy programming. Navigation performance is something that I think is almost rare. It's rare for me to meet someone who can tell me, they have a sense. You've got a bunch of labels in your navigation, right? You've got some drop-down menus. You've got a bunch of stuff you can click on. What gets clicked? How often? What gets clicked the most on your website? What gets clicked the least on your website? Most marketers don't know. Yet the answer is seconds away. This is really useful for those that have a bunch of navigation on their site. Maybe you've got big drop-down menus, the so-called mega drop-downs. The mega drop-down menus will show you if there's a bunch of people who are using that, a bunch of different options. This is a site, mega drop-downs, whole bunch of options. You can click on tons of stuff on this website. What gets clicked the most? What gets clicked the least? We're about to find out. From the All Pages report, if you go let's just go to the home page. There it is. It's the top row. Click on the home page. It's going to show you another report that basically is the same report with just one row. Okay? Andy, that was boring. I'm looking at less data now. I just clicked on that row, and I'm only seeing that row. But once you've drilled down from there, there's a button that I think most people miss. It's the navigation summary. It's one of my favorites. It shows where people go from where people go from where. People who came to this page came from where, people who leave from this page go where. The navigation summary at a glance will show you where people are going from this page. See all those things on the right? That's the performance of your navigation. That's the percentage of people who did what from here. People who left the home page went to where. In seconds, you get all kinds of ideas, right? It's common for people to design stuff and assume that it's going to work as they expected. This is what web designers do, right? They make stuff and they think, oh, I know how people are going to use this. Everyone's going to love the slides. Everyone goes to the playground to play on the slides, right? The slides are so much fun. I made these great slides for the kids to play on. No one's using the slides. It's very common. I'd be surprised if we looked at any of your pages, any of your navigation performance, and didn't instantly find that there were little things that get clicked a lot. There were big things that almost never get clicked. Does that call to action work? You're about to find out. You can tell in seconds, right? You can see what percentage of people took that action. The navigation summary is that useful. You're measuring the performance of the content. All these button labels are how effective. So right away you can see if this thing is working or not. Often, website, 6 items, drop-down menu. On the third item, the third drop-down, that's the most common click. Maybe that should be promoted, surfaced, elevated to the top-level navigation, totally normal. Or maybe there's a really valuable content on a page that rarely gets visited. Really valuable content. You worked hard on that video? Why did you put it way down there on that page that almost no one flows through to? Right? Or if you look at drop-down navigation performance, it's very common for people to skip the top label. Drop-downs encourage people to move past the top-level page. The eye moves faster than the mouse. Oh, I'll go up there. Drop-down appears. Moment of friction. Oh, I've got more options. I guess I've got to choose one of these. They've moved down. They make a choice. They skipped your top-level page, which had your best testimonials, those linked to those awesome case studies, right? All the sales page performance. The site might have been encouraging people to move past that. Maybe just get rid of the drop-down. I joke in doing web design 15 years ago, we would always try to save the visitor a click, like we were saving whales. No, I don't want them to have to click. We're going to, they can go anywhere from anywhere. Is that really ideal? Or should we create a path that guides them through a series of messages from page to page, right? This is a question of usability, of messaging, of prioritization, of guiding the visitor, data-driven empathy, what's working, what's not. Super common. And if you can take something away, everything that's left just got easier to find. Something like a third of our clients, we ask them what they like, what websites they like, they say Apple. When you ask them why they like Apple, they say, I like clean, modern design. What are they saying they like? White space. Marketers, though, didn't get the message. They keep adding more crap to pages until there's so much visual noise that everything's harder to find. Here's a rule. Don't add anything new to your website until you've taken something else away. What should you take away? The worst performing thing. What's the worst performing thing? The navigation summary will show you. Right? Data-driven empathy, the performance of content. Similarly, I can tell you in minutes, if you have an FAQ page, this one's fun. If you have an FAQ page, I can tell you in minutes which of your pages is the least satisfying. Sort of like the report of broken dreams. People go to your FAQ page, what are they doing there? Did they want to go there? FAQ pages, I've got a mini rant here. If you've got an FAQ page, it's like saying, I am really important content tucked away in this page named something very vague. This page is a bunch of frequently asked stuff. It's like a lack of organization, the idea of an FAQ page. Really, the job of a web page is to answer the visitor's top questions. The visitor came to your site for information. The job of these pages, the job of the navigation is to help them find that quickly. That's what they're here for, right? What does the website do? Answer. One word. That's the purpose of your website, is to answer. And then supply evidence to support those answers. And then give them clear, specific calls to action. That's a web page. Answer, evidence, call to action. That's how conversion happens. That's how sales works. That's what a web page is. These pages are designed with visual hierarchy to guide the visitor through the page that answers what they came for and then gave them what you want them to have. Answers, evidence, answer, evidence, call to action. Now you're creating demand, right? So what's an FAQ page except important information out of context? You made them go around the block to finish this, telling themselves the story about your site. So that's my case against FAQ. But if you have one, it's kind of cool. Go to the site content report. There's a value here. Before you get rid of it, do this. Go to the site content report, find your FAQ page, and from the FAQ page, look at the navigation summary, and it will show you the start page. People went to your FAQ page from where? This report basically is a list of the pages that have content gaps, that are missing information. These are the pages that have where questions are left unanswered. Instantly you know like which pages to focus on. If you've got 10 minutes to do marketing this month, do this. Figure out the pages that are unsatisfying, that are failing to meet people's information needs. So what information is missing from those? And are there questions? Are there other questions these visitors might be asking? That tip is at minute 13 in the video. And this is, I don't love the idea of hiding content behind a click, but it's very common for people to build pages that have these expandable content areas, right? You click to open it, you click to open it. That is a usability feature, and people do it to make pages easier to browse. It's also a data-driven empathy tool for the marketer that wants to know what their audience needs. So you can add Hotjar to pages to see the click map. Google Analytics doesn't track these things by default. Google Analytics by default tracks movement from page to page to page. So non-page view interactions, like expanding these content areas, can be tracked through a tool like Hotjar. That FAQ page is basically a poll. It's like a survey I'm doing of my audience to find out what questions they actually have. We put Hotjar on an FAQ page from a client, and I can tell you exactly which questions people actually are asking and which questions no one really cares about. Who decided that was a frequently asked question? Did you have data to support that question is truly frequently asked? Hotjar actually shows us at a glance like which of these get expanded. So it gives you an idea for what your information gaps are on your site. So yeah, I recommend first, move all of your frequently asked questions, all your important content, all the way over to those pages where the question pops into their mind. That's the job of the marketer, is to answer the question when that question pops into the visitor's mind. Right? That's the purpose of messaging priority. And then reorder these FAQ pages, maybe put the top questions at the top, move the questions that are not frequently asked. If this is true, then really every click, those last two tips, every click on your website is actually a data gathering tool to figure out what your audience really wants. Anyone here have social media icons on their website? It's more than 95%, almost all of us, right? Which of those gets clicked the most? Anyone know? Most people do not know. If you have Google Tag Manager, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process for actually answering this question. Which of those social media icons gets clicked the most? Turns out you were running a poll down there, you just hadn't thought of it that way. So this is my site. At the bottom, we've got some social icons. Google Tag Manager is a tool for managing tags. Makes sense? You put all your marketing tags in there, and it's also a way where you can create events without using a programmer. You can create events without using a programmer. Events are ways to track things that aren't page views, moving from page to page. Events are ways to track non-page view interactions, like exit clicks, those social icons, exit clicks. So I'm going to go to Google Tag Manager, and I'm going to click to add a new tag. And this tag, I'm going to call it offsite click. Little naming convention, GA event offsite click. We're getting into the weeds here. You came to an advanced analytics session, right? I'm literally showing screenshots of how to set up Google Tag Manager. Hope you guys are cool with this. This is we're in the deep end now. So the tag I'm going to make has a tracking ID. The event type. I'm tracking what? I'm tracking an event. Events have what? They have three things: categories, actions, and labels. The category, I'll call it link. The action, I'll call it click. And the label is the click URL. The click URL is the link, the address of the thing they clicked on. Unfortunately, Google has it built in, but it's not set up by default, so you have to go to variables to turn that on, the click URL. Once that's set, I've got my trigger all built, or I've got my tag all built. Now I'm going to add a trigger. The trigger is going to fire when someone clicks a link. So I'm going to set that to just links, and it fires when the click URL does not contain my website. I suddenly will be able to track every exit click from my website. Very useful. I'm going to track every time someone leaves my website. That's possible, right? Every click that leaves the website. So then when you publish it, I go to the event report for my homepage, and it shows me which of those social icons get clicked the most. I'll pull it out and put it in here. Voila. Any ideas? Wow, maybe I should use Facebook after all. I always thought it's kind of a creepy website. Should I use it? I guess my audience likes it. That's an idea, right? This is actually, you can see what's getting what kind of performance. And don't tell me that all those social icons that you gave valuable real estate to up there in your header are getting clicked equally. No way. No way are people clicking on all those things. Which ones should you remove? The ones that people aren't using. How do you know that? You set up a tiny event using Google Tag Manager and then looked at the top pages report in the event section. Make sense? That's a fake site. I made that just as kind of a joke slide, but you get the idea. Actually, there probably is a website called Social Wackos with a bunch of social icons in the header. We can look that up. So remove the icons that don't get clicked and get active on those social networks where your audience is active themselves. How did I know? They told me. I was just listening. I started listening. That's what analytics is. It's a giant listening tool, right? Visitor behavior. Are people watching? We're getting down to it, guys. Are people watching these videos that I put on my website? Who here has published a YouTube video? Most. Almost all. Who here has a YouTube video on their website? Oh, that's almost everybody. Wow, I'm in the right room. Who here knows which of those videos gets played and how often? About 8 of us. Cool. I'm fine with that. You guys are one step ahead of the game. If you've embedded Google YouTube videos on your website and you have Google Tag Manager, I'm going to show you how to track plays on those videos. Most people don't do this. There's an example of a web page. It's got a video on it. That video is embedded from YouTube. The play button there is a non-page view interaction, right? It's not tracked in analytics by default. There's no JavaScript that triggers when that video gets played, so analytics doesn't really know. We have to set it up. So to do that, I'm going to go back into Tag Manager. This is the advanced class, right? Are we in the right place? That Andy guy was nice, but he just kept showing me all this Tag Manager. So we go into Tag Manager, and we're going to set up the variables first. There's basically 3 things in here. The tag, what action is taken, on the trigger, when it happens, and the variables that get sent to Google Analytics, right? That get passed back and forth. So first I'm going to set up the variables. This is kind of newish, or it's newer in Tag Manager. If you click Configure, there's a bunch of video ones. Go turn them all on. Next, we're going to create a trigger for this tag. A trigger is going to show us that people went to this, the trigger, I'm going to call it, I creatively name it my YouTube video trigger. Good enough. That'll work. Give it a meaningful name. And there's the trigger type. It's right there, YouTube. Now I'm going to add a tag for that. This is going to be start, complete, pause. These are the things that I'm going to be tracking, right? Or I'm going to check all these boxes. You can set the percentages to see how much of that video people watched. This is all the data I'm going to be passing into Google Analytics. Okay? Step-by-step process, guys. You don't have to write this down. Just go watch the video. I have the whole thing is captured for you here. Then I'm going to save, this was the trigger. I'm going to save the trigger. And then I'm going to create a tag for it. The tag is going to be event tracking for YouTube. Here's my YouTube event. And the trigger is going to be a analytics event, of course. It's the analytics tag. Video view is my category. Video title is my action. Video status is my label. Those are the variables that we just set up. Now that that's done, one last tip. That bottom box there, non-interaction hit, if that is set to false, it's going to affect your bounce rate. If you change it to true, this event will no longer affect your bounce rate. A bounce, this is kind of nerdy, but a bounce is not a one-page visit. A bounce is a one-hit visit, and an event is another hit. A hit is anytime data is sent to Google Analytics. So it's kind of a misconception that a bounce is a one-page visit. That's not technically true. There's other things that can trigger a hit, like an event, and that event will affect your bounce rate unless you change that drop-down to true. Okay? That drop-down really should say, do you want this to screw up your bounce rate? And you can just change it to, no, I don't want it to screw up the bounce rate. Set it to true. Okay? A bounce is a one-hit session, not a one-page visit. It's a one-hit session. Now you're going to add the trigger, which you just made. It was right there. Trigger is all set up. Voila, done. We click Save. Now we have our event tracking set up. We submit the container to Google, to our website, and now we can see every interaction on that video. Ready? Here's the data. Now I'm going to make a segment to see those people separately. Did people watch it or not? I want to see them separately. Segments, I waited way too long before I learned how to make segments. It actually is very simple. There's that thing at the top. Anyone here using segments actively? You guys, I want you to play with this a little bit. It's not that hard. I'm going to click to make a segment. It's up there at the top. I'm going to look at, a segment is creating an audience. It's creating a group of people that you want to look at separately. You could create a segment just for social media visitors, or just for people who bounced, or just people who converted, or just people who came from search. Then you can see them all separately in analytics. It's very useful for doing analysis. Click the red button to make a new segment. This segment, I'm going to make it this is the only kind of segment I ever make. It's a conditional segment. Show me the people who watched the video. When you click on conditional, you can set little rules to look at them separately. If the event category contains video, they watch the video. That's it. That's all it is. Include where the event category contained video. These are the people who watched. These are the people who watched. I'm going to make another one to exclude event category contained video. These are the people who didn't watch. I creatively named them video no watchers. It's kind of awkward. I wanted to put the word video at the front. Someone can give me tips on naming conventions afterwards if you'd like. So the video watchers and video no watchers, I can see these two people separately now. See that at the top? Video watchers and video no watchers. Now every report for everything I do in analytics is going to look at these two people separately for me. And look at the data. See the data down there? I can see them separately. I'm going to zoom in. What percentage of visitors to that page watched the video? The answer? 10%. What percentage of those visitors who watched the video bounced versus didn't bounce? Oh, they're less likely to bounce. Did adding video I'm allocating resources. I'm defending a budget. I'm making decisions as a marketer for what to do. What is the impact for all this video work that I'm going to do? Show me. Well, the impact is that they spend 2.5 times more seconds on the page. Good impact, right? I can see I'm measuring content performance. It's showing me at a glance, right away. Just made 2 segments, and I can see them right there side by side. I don't have enough data yet to conclude whether the conversion rates are different for video watchers versus no watchers. There's 2 questions. You were first in the back. Go ahead, yes. Can you look at demographics for specific segments? Yep. I'll repeat the question for now. Jeff's got a microphone for you. You want to ask again?
I was just asking if you can look at the demographics of a specific segment.
Demographics is one of the types of segments. So yes, you can, the data's not super accurate, but you can presumably say, just show me millennials, and segments can be used for that. If I were to combine this with demographics to see what demographic watched the video, I don't think I'd have enough data. Look, there's only 269 video watchers there. So if I drill that down to a demographic, I'm going to be in very low numbers. Question? This report is the page level.
So do you have to set it up for each page that you want to look at?
Nope. You set it up to trigger on any of the video views. The trigger is fired according to Google Tag Manager whenever a video is played or stopped or scanned on any page, anytime. Analytics is looking now to see when that trigger takes effect. To see this analysis, I went to top pages. And you can't, it's kind of cut off, but up here at the top, that's the URL for the page. This is page-level analysis for a segmented event tracking. Make sense?
Oh, one more.
One more question?
Can you only use this feature if your video is on YouTube, or can you use it with other video hosting platforms?
You can use it with other video hosting platforms, but not as easily, because Google's a giant digital monopoly, and they only made it native for YouTube. You have to add JavaScript tracking code to do it for other players, I believe. Yeah. One more question?
You got a question?
No.
Okay. Okay, so this happens when your video is embedded on the website and you are not taking it as a new page or new tab like a video, just like a click and you go, because your bounce rate will be pretty high there. But that puts me to the question that what is a good practice? Embed it and make people watch so that your bounce rate is low, or take them to YouTube. Anyway, they're coming to your YouTube.
Well, it'd be a bounce if they leave, if that was their first page and the JavaScript was triggered just once, and then they left. They clicked the YouTube bug in the corner to leave your website. They snuck away and went over to YouTube where they're going to watch cat videos and Dave Chappelle stand up, and they're never coming back. You don't really want that to happen anyway, which is the case against YouTube. So yes, this will only track the event when it happens on this page, because Google tag, the container for the tag is on this page. It won't show when people left and went to YouTube. So best practices. Well, best practices are for each of you to decide based on your analysis. What was the impact of that action? What was the impact of that action? So if you want to increase time on page, in this example, that was very effective. So yeah. Also, if I added it up, I could watch the number of views on YouTube and the number of views on my website, and I could see where people are watching this video. Right? So I think that I've got that here. What's your questions to ask? Oh, I've only got 3. Could you improve your play rate? What is the play rate? No one ever calculates that. It's the percentage of, mine was 10%. The percentage of people who came to this page and then watched the video, right? How do you improve the play rate? With a better custom thumbnail. Brighter colors, a face, put the headline, right? Look at how the pro YouTubers maximize their play rates, right? So that would be an analysis, an example of a decision I could make based on this number. Could you add this to high bounce, low time on page, other pages? Absolutely. This would be a way to improve engagement. I've measured the performance of this content, and I've decided I can get this advantage on other places with a further investment of time or money in video. Where do they perform best? Should long videos be broken up? Are certain traffic sources more likely to watch? I can measure everything now. Now I know. Now I can go get the data and actually see what the impact is of that investment of time. Segments are very useful. I'll give you another quick example. Look at this website. The goal conversion rate, 5%, or 0.5. Ooh, ouch. That's a low conversion rate, right? Or is it? I'm going to make a segment to separate people who start their visit on a blog post from people who start their visit on a sales page. I'm going to click to add a new segment. My new segment is going to be, as I always do it, it's a conditional segment. Scroll down, click to make it a conditional segment. My segment name is going to be called Non-Blog Landers. I'm very creative with these names I use. These are people who didn't start their visit on a blog post. I'm going to exclude when the page, search for page, there's a landing page, exclude where the landing page contains blog. Now I can see a segment of just people who were commercial intent. Right? We all have 2 kinds of visitors. Information intent visitors who want answers to questions. Commercial intent visitors who need your product or service. So when I can see them separately, the non-blog landers, oh, it's not so bad after all. The conversion rate was actually 2.5%. Right? I'm going to keep my job. My boss is happy because I didn't have a disastrous conversion rate on my website because I was able to look at my website analytics but without all of those people who just came to read a blog post. Make sense? Very simple. Segments are very useful. One final tip, guys. I'm going to go quickly through this. This one's got a lot of stuff. This is the ultimate content performance in my mind. The ultimate version of content performance is to see who was so inspired they gave you their email address. I think that's a lot of trust. Anyone here subscribed to something in the last few days? Last week? Yeah, look at that. Email's a tough channel. Thank you guys for keeping the marketing automators alive. Do you have content, yes or no, and do you have calls to action on your content? If yes, this will be very useful to you. You need to have content marketing. So if you go to the reverse goal path report, it will show you what people were reading right before they felt so much love that they gave you their email address. Reverse goal path. What they were reading right before, they were so happy with what you did that they gave you their email address. And on the right, it shows you the number of people who did it, right? So presumably, these are the ones that are the most compelling. Maybe not. Maybe some of these had much more traffic than others. I don't want the raw conversions. I want the conversion rate, the percentage of people who read the article and then subscribed. So to find that, I've got to go to the all pages report and then find the other number, and then I'm going to go into Excel and start to try to match up these pages and then divide one number by the other. Kind of a hassle. So much work, I only did this like every 6 months. But I always knew, right? Every 6 months I would know. Now there's a better way to do this using Google Sheets. Google Sheets, you can now connect to Google Analytics, or maybe you always could. Connect to Google Analytics. It's an add-on. So go to the tools. What does it say? Add-ons. Click Get Add-ons, and click on Flubaroo. I'm kidding. What a weird name. What is that? Where do people come up with this stuff? Don't click on Flubaroo. Click on Google Analytics. Add Google Analytics to your Google Sheets. Okay? Once it's connected, you're going to add some permissions. And now when you create the report, you're going to tell Google Sheets what account, property, and view you're doing analysis on, and which metric and dimension you want. What do you want? You want the goal completions when that page was the previous step from the reverse goal path report. You want the goal, and so it's going to grab that for you. If you have low data, you can actually increase the number of days. You can make that number higher to give yourself some more data. Then you're going to create another one that shows the number of page views, right? Account property and view, when the metric is unique page views or visits, and it's for that specific page. Now it makes a different tab for each. It makes one here for the conversions, number of goal completions, and the reverse goal path, or the page views, number of unique page views. Now I am bad at Excel. Anyone here good at Excel? Find those people, hang out with them. You need to do like this VLOOKUP. I am going to get horrible ratings on this presentation if I start reading to you all of the cell calculations in Excel. This is not an exciting presentation. That Andy guy was nice, but he actually started reading to me like the VLOOKUP code on this website. That is boring. But you can tell what I'm going to do here, right? I'm going to divide the one number by the other number. I'm going to divide the number of conversions when that page was the previous step, by the total number of page views there. There it is. There's the calculation. Conversion rate is that column divided by that column. Voila. There it is. This is showing me the percentage of visitors who subscribe to our newsletter after reading which article. And look at the difference. Look at how much bigger some of these numbers are than others. That is dramatic. The number 1 is like twice as high as number 6, and number 6 is like twice as high as number 12. Some of your content guys, awesome. The high performers, amazing. The low performers, worthless. They're basically worth nothing. Nobody would ever subscribe. Your worst stuff is so much worse than your good stuff, but most marketers have no idea which is which. They don't know. Therefore, they don't know what content they should be promoting, what to keep in heavy social rotation, what to promote and where. I made this slide to show you how I feel about that. I am that big a nerd. I thought that was useful. I find that very useful, and I'd find it very hard to do content marketing without that information, right? Without the conversion rate. Are you promoting your top converting content? Oh, Ian Clary's doing a presentation right after this on how to promote your existing content. He'll give you 1,000 tips. Keep that in heavy social rotation. Put that back on top of the blog. Link to that thing from your homepage. Buy some ads. Those are worth it, actually. You might buy some ads for those things. Put them in your email signature. Do whatever you can. Put on your traffic driving gloves and promote the heck out of these, because those are well worth it. Your best mousetraps. Remember the first tip? Which of your posts get the most traffic? That's your best cheese. The last tip is which pages convert at what rate? That's your best mousetraps, right? Link to your highest converting stuff from your highest converting stuff from your highest traffic stuff. That internal link will give you the best results as fast as possible. How often? I used to do this every 6 months. Now this little robot does it for me every Monday morning at 4 a.m. Great. Job done. I just pull up that tab and it shows me my top converting post of the week. Very useful. We did it, guys. Wow. That was 173 slides. Whew. We made it. That was tough. I have one mini tip at the end, but my final piece of advice for you is to cross the line. There's a line that separates the beginners from the more advanced users of Google Analytics, and that is the line. I'm going to bounce back and forth. That line separates the beginners from the advanced people in Google Analytics. Beginners that click on these reports. Was it you that said, Jeff? How did you put that? Use the mic.
If you're using averages, you're average.
Ouch. That's just clicking. That's aggregate data. That's what every one of those reports is. It's the aggregate data. It's the least insightful, least useful, least likely to give you insights. It's like people who jump in the ocean and splash around and they say they're not going anywhere. Yeah, because you didn't have a point. Like it wasn't a goal. Like you weren't actually doing any analysis. Advanced users, we did them all. We did all these things. They make segments. They drill down. They use secondary dimensions. They create advanced filters. And you go one level deeper, just click a little bit on the right. The really advanced users, like we did at the very end, they move data out of analytics. Analytics is a data feed to populate things that they do in Google Sheets or in Google Data Studio. That's where the total experts do it. But really, guys, that's the line. Beginners click on the left, but we click on the right. Say it with me. We click. We click. One more time. Where do we click? That's it, guys. We did an advanced analytics session. If I've got one final tip, it's this. Go to LinkedIn and add analytics as a skill. Get the people you just sat with to endorse you for it. This is the most sought after skill in digital, guys. You just did a great thing for each of your careers. I'm very grateful you came. Thanks for coming. Have fun. Enjoy the show and click on the right, okay?